Imagine the following. You are in a relationship that consumes you. Sometimes it feels like the peak of passion, intense, vibrant, full of chemistry. But other times, it's like walking through a minefield. Words cut deeper than silence. Small gestures turn into arguments, and the simple act of wanting to breathe, to have space, becomes a source of guilt. Still, you stay, not out of convenience, not out of weakness, but because something inside you believes that this love is worth it, that this chaos is the price to pay for something profound. And here's the thing. Many toxic relationships don't reveal themselves as such from the start. They build up gradually, in layers. They begin with affection, commitment, promises. But at some point, almost imperceptibly, what was affection turns into control. What was care turns into surveillance. What was connection turns into dependency. And you don't see this clearly. You just feel like you are always in debt, as if loving means diminishing yourself. Perhaps you have been through something like this. Or maybe you know someone who is trapped in this cycle. People who say things like, "He is like this because he loves me too much." Or, "She is just insecure. She doesn't mean any harm," while justifying behaviors that actually drain their vital energy. Relationships where you feel guilty for wanting a little silence, where saying no is enough to trigger emotional blackmail, cold distancing, or unpredictable outbursts. And then comes the worst. You start to doubt yourself. Am I exaggerating? Is the problem me? This is one of the most subtle and dangerous traits of a toxic relationship. It distorts your perception of reality. It slowly undermines your self-confidence. It makes you confuse love with emotional survival. This video is not an accusation. It is not a judgment. It is an invitation to look honestly at the dynamics we call love, and that in fact may be poisoning our emotional health. Let's explore together the 7 psychological signs that you are in a toxic relationship based on some of the brightest minds in psychology. You won't hear shallow advice or self-help phrases here. What you will find are uncomfortable but liberating truths. Because sometimes all we need to break free from a destructive cycle is to see what was previously hidden. If you are ready to face this with courage, keep watching. What comes next may hurt, but it can also set you free. Some of the most toxic relationships are also the hardest to leave. Why? Because they offer us something that at first glance seems rare and valuable: intensity. Moments of emotional euphoria, passionate reconciliations after explosive fights, jealousy that seems to prove how much the other cares. It's like an emotional roller coaster, and each drop, each dizzying rise, reinforces the feeling that there is something deep there. But intensity is not synonymous with love. And this is one of the most dangerous misconceptions we can carry. Freud explained this clearly when he spoke of the compulsion to repeat, the unconscious tendency to seek emotional experiences that resemble childhood traumas. If you grew up in an unstable environment where affection and pain went hand in hand, your brain learned that love must come with suffering, that it is only real if it leaves you in doubt, if it knocks you off your feet, if it hurts. That's why, when you enter a relationship marked by emotional instability, you don't reject it, you recognize it. Erich Fromm also addresses this when describing the so-called symbiotic love, a type of bond in which two people merge into an illusion of unity but are actually trapped in a dynamic of dependency. In this type of relationship, drama becomes routine, and without realizing it, you start to confuse emotional turmoil with affective depth. You believe that if it hurts, it's because it's real. But the truth is harsh. Intensity is not love, it's imbalance.